in all the countries we have seen a strong digital transformation in the last 2 years because of the pandemics, of course. But I want to address some points, starting with this logic of the digital, the forced digital transformation that we have been doing in the last months. In this slide, you can see how the digital population has been growth in the last year, which is of course a very much speed related to the other measures of global population. No, the global population grows at a 1% rate in average, and in the case of social networks, which has been the main form of digital connection in our modern society, the growth is well, very rapid. If we analyze the situation of different digital industries or models supported by digital technologies, we have a picture which is very similar to what we can think. No, the industry of digital payments is a very strong industry because it supports all the transactional industries, digital or not, which has some kind of digital transactions. No, and the B2C commerce is another traditional relevant industry. The m-commerce, which is related, of course, to the total e-commerce also. And we have a number of more recent industries with sizes so much behind the other main industries. No, the e-learning industry, video games, video streaming, music streaming, etc., telemedicine. But if we take a moment to see the growth of these industries, the situation changes a lot. No, we have a strong growth in these industries because, well, all of them are in emerging phase of the growth, of course, but also because of the pandemics. No, we have been working, entertainment, studying in digital means. No, which implies that we have a special situation in this last 2 years, no, related to how we handle all this necessity to be more digital in all the aspects. This is the situation of the retail industry last year, and we have separated the growth in the e-commerce venue and in the total retail sectors. And we see a common pattern across all the world. In the global arena, the growth of e-commerce was 14%. And in the case of the total retail, we have a contraction of 3%. In all the countries, we have similar situations. In some countries like Argentina and Chile, the growth of e-commerce was impressive, really impressive. And the contraction of the total retail was very relevant also. In the case of Chile, we have a near 4% contraction in retail, but if we don't have the growth of the e-commerce side, we will have a contraction of 10%. This is the relevance of the movement that we see last year in the case of the e-commerce. A lot of new customers across the world goes to e-commerce. We see a rapid development in the case of the supply side and in the demand side also. A number of companies also, a big number of new companies comes to e-commerce, and traditional companies, traditional small retailers did not have the opportunity to stay in physical locals, shops, and they must go to the e-commerce. In the case of Chile, the transformation was huge. If we compare the main drivers of this situation, well, we see in this chart the growth in the same indicator, the growth in the number of online shoppers, but in the other side, in the other axis, we have the severity of the confinement process in the countries by the quarantines, etc. And you can see that in the case of the most confinement countries, the growth in the e-commerce shoppers growth more rapidly. The case of Chile is the extreme situation, a lot of confinement and a lot of new customers in the e-commerce. And this happens not only in e-commerce, of course, in the education industry, in the health industry, in the work or labor markets, etc. In all these markets, we see the same situation. More confinement drives more digital growth in the use of the different means. We start in Chile with 33%, a third of all the users doing regularly online shopping, and we finally stabilize the number in more than 80%, which is our new digital demand for retail. Well, this is the situation across the globe in terms of the participation of e-commerce in total sales. No? China, UK are very special cases which drives the global penetration to very high levels because of their importance in the total, in the case of US also, in the total global transactions. No? But, well, and we clearly can see how digital was more relevant last year, no? In the case of Chile, we have a similar situation. This was our original forecast for the e-commerce industry in our country, B2C, and we see this new chart, no? This new line reflecting the impact of the COVID. We made in a private and public effort, we made all years with Corfo, which is the local promoting business department in the Chilean government. We made a study of a digital transformation index. In 2019, the index was in 43 points from a total of 100 points. And we grew 7 points last year, which has been the most rapid growth in the history of this index. And if we analyze this index, the growth of the index, the main growth happens in digital adoption. In cultural change or organizational change, the growth was behind these figures, almost 10 points just related to a new digital adoption. This means that companies adopt digital technologies or models, but didn't adopt at the same speed the transformation, the cultural transformation in these organizations. "41% of the Chilean companies said that they accelerate the transformational, the digital transformation because of the pandemics, which is as expected, but is a huge amount of the companies. What we conclude with Corfo in Chile is that we have a very rapid transformation all both in the side of consumers and population in general, and in the business sector. No, but we have the problem that everybody's using digital, but just a few of the new entrants are able to transform this process in the short run in a really transformational process in terms of what we understand as a digital transformation. A digital transformation is not only making transactions or using technologies, it's also related to the maturity of the deep cultural transformation required to operate in sustainable ways these new environments. So we are trying with the help of the government to design new ways of make an educational effort with the companies and with the consumers also, to give sustainability to this digital transformation process. We need to make the cultural process to be coherent with all this adoption of digital means. So we think that the key point now, and where all the efforts will be directed, is to promote the digital cultural transformation. So we will keep using technology when we will back fully to the physical arena, no, which is happening right now in our country. Thank you very much.